Today is October 20th, 2018. We're here in Indiana, near Tell City, at the Shubal Little Pioneer Village. This is the Millstone School, built in 1905, rebuilt in 2015.
I have 7 grown Christian daughters, and they all live in New York, North Carolina,
Do you want to say hello?
Hi.
Hello, welcome to the Pioneer Village. Open house.
We're exploring the Shubal Little Pioneer Village. This was the schoolhouse.
Glory be.
Oh, Lord, that's church.
Yeah.
Hello, kid. Make yourself known. You're welcome to sit wherever you want to sit. We're glad to have you.
Oh boy. What do we learn?
We go to elementary school.
What are we learning today?
I'm just telling old-fashioned stories, true stories. Born and raised on a farm, and went to one school and had to walk a mile in the water every morning and every night. And when it got rainy and bad, my dad was a farmer, so he would dig in the Model A Ford and come and pick us up. But then all the neighborhoods got in the car too. One time we had 13 kids in our Model A. Now, the end truck over there on the left, if you go on the left, that's where I went to school, and my grades were in there. Yes.
And they're all A's, right?
I'm not bragging, but my brother Paul Ziegler, he and I both in there if we missed it. But that's the way the teachers, that's a teacher's knowledge school. I was lucky to get it.
Did you go to the school?
But when John was in school, he was in the
I'd like to get one of those.
the boys split the and the girls take the after lunch.
Here you go.
Want me to put it on?
This is the Little Mercantile Company.
Is this your post for the afternoon?
Yeah.
this is all your relatives? I said,
Yeah. What's his name? That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. So
Actually, we probably are related, I
that's
think.
true, both of us. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, we got
You're sounding really good. I think there was, yes, I was here for that. Yeah.
Pictures are always outside. Pretty cool. This is old photography. That one.
Is there no room to walk in?
Smile on that
Just looking to see how they're made.
Well, this is the kick winder, and we're putting some new wire on it. Comes through, it's kind of like a sewing machine, it's high tension, and then it wraps the wire
Oh, very
under
cool.
tension. When you do this, it spins the broom,
Oh, that's super
and
cool.
that comes out of the chuck like a drill.
Yeah.
I guess the blind people used to make brooms on these.
Wow.
Oh, that's neat. My field.
Yeah, I guess they stack the corn here from
Excuse me.
I don't see how, but you
So this
learn.
is from corn?
Yeah, so like a sorghum, like a corn stalk, except there's no corn on it.
Right.
It goes like 12 feet tall. They go through and harvest them. Real labor intensive to harvest it in machines. I think only Mexico somebody now makes it or grows it.
Not so much of a market for it anymore.
No, it's kind of.
Grandma, Bill here that says grandmas are just antique little girls. It's what? It says grandmas are just little antique are antique little girls.
That's okay. Just kind of offset that. Makes it warm. It's good. Are you going to take It's probably for the tag. For the price tag. Yeah. Thank you. I need another one. Or anything, right? They won't think I'm just carrying this out. Okay, thank you. I didn't want anybody to
Good night. Hi there.
Yeah, I know if I with my hands and making brooms here. What do you have? Making brooms. You got it figured out?
What is this?
I don't know. It rotates.
Yeah, I wonder what the giant bingo box.
That's what it looks like.
Maybe they used it to churn butter or something. This is the raffle box.
I forgot to tell you the raffle tickets.
What is this giant wheel over here?
I'm not sure if it's a butter churner or if it does the laundry. Not sure. Well, he said it was made out here. Said it was up here.
Thank you.
Can you get the sign?
Yep.
You're not gonna show, right?
So Kathy, you need to be behind, you need to be right here. Doesn't have to, yeah, right there.
Can you see the sign?
Oh, you're in the way.
There you go. No, she's there.
Hello? Are you filming? No, just looking down.
Oh, good.
Do you want to meet the pioneers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's cute. Is this, Sandra, is this where food is? Is that where the food is?
In the van.
That's our cabin.
This is?
That's the cabin. The Georgia Little.
This is it.
Closer than I thought. That's good. You see, it says 1880.
Okay. April, I'm sorry.
No, you were.
He's not watching what he's trying to do. And I put something up and picked it up. Well, 10 minutes later.
Can't find them.
Oh, no.
Hold on, look again.
It's at 2 o'clock. Hour and a half. Take a look at that.
So, like, this was
Really good job.
Yeah, that's what
Find them? No.
Oh, well, we got more.
Her name is Kimberly. Hold on to Martha Smith.
You think you're gonna get out of here in time to see? Oh yeah.
Oh, it's incredible.
Smokehouse over here.
Okay, no problem.
And if you go up the hill, there's going to be music on the porch here in a minute.
Nice.
But if you go up the hill, Falls Cabin is up there. That one came from Kentucky. If you go all the way to the top, Adam Shoemaker Cabin. He was Abraham Lincoln's school teacher and minister. So when you go in Shoemaker Cabin, Abraham Lincoln probably was in that cabin. And then you come back down the hill and go down that road right over there, and you go to Hinton Cabin. Now, 13 kids were born in Carter. And Carter and Hinton came from Coon Club Road. If you don't live around here, y'all know this makes any sense.
Well, we know some of the areas from looking at some family cemeteries.
Coon Club Road. And then come up through the woods.
And then it grabs a hold of itself and it stays that way, you know, the twist.
So it starts twisting right here, but you don't, it's not twisting until it gets up here.
Yeah, see all this, yeah, the action of these bobbins and the twisting of this, you know, twist that, and then you kind of hold your fingers here so the twist doesn't go into here, so that way you can pull it, okay, you know, and stretch it out. It's called drafting, and then you allow the twist to go into it. And then it takes it up.
Yeah. This is my oldest boy, Don.
Hi, Don. Sandra Loftus. Sandra Little Loftus.
I remember you.
Your cousin.
I'm Lauren.
Hello, Lauren.
Kathy's daughter.
Oh, I don't think I've ever met
Great to meet you.
My mom and Kathy are over here signing in something.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Good to see you all.
Honey.
I live in Florida.
She said Holiday, Florida.
Oh.
Holiday Florida.
It's south of Tampa.
Came up just for this.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
we all did. Just drove up yesterday. I flew.
They did a great job with the project.
Oh yes.
Did Dell have a hard time getting up to the house?
I don't know. We went to the schoolhouse first and then to the Mercantile. She's got the walkers every once in a while. She's getting her run.
They fried cornbread. Thank you. You're welcome. Nice day. I got you.
George Little was my great 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 grandfather.
Okay.
It is dark in here.
Yeah. But this,
What are you cooking that smells so good?
We had made some sausage and fried vegetables this morning.
Oh my.
And
The smell lingers.
okay.
So are you a descendant of George Little? Okay.
She is. And then the lady out here, George was her grandpa. Her dad got raped. So they're all from the same
It's a whirlwind trip.
It smells good.
Bearcat stew.
Yeah, that's how we know she was
I'm so sorry to hear about
Yeah.
Excuse me. Maybe keep them kind of flat.
Maybe fold it. Okay, put it underneath everything.
Well, we'll put it in your mom's.
Oh, okay.
She's got to fold it.
I'm glad it was here so close. Chuck has finally. He was sitting up here a while ago.
He's sitting here about half an hour.
Mom, do y'all want to look around in here while it's not so crowded?
Yeah, that might be good.
Now,
Okay.
the photographer's going to come back.
Yes, he's
And
been here taking
he's going to put it in the newspaper, and
What's that?
we'll have everybody's picture here.
Oh, that would be neat.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, I've been trying to reach Chuck several months, and I would always get a message.
Was
saying
that him there?
that I didn't see his
He's in the leather pants.
He was, I saw him in the back of who I think was him. He was talking to somebody,
Right.
and he was over here. Yes.
He's sitting here for about a half an hour.
And I told him you all was coming in. He said, "You mean they're coming that far to see the cabin?" I said, "Sure."
He said he's honored.
Well, he's honored. I finally got a voicemail last night, and I said,
Maybe. What time is it?
2 o'clock.
Is it? Where did this one come from?
I don't really know so much about this one because this one was just now.
this cabin was up near Leopold. where it was originally on Fortunatus property.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they went straight up that way.
Oh, yeah.
I raised 8 kids in this house.
It went up and then you just kind of stepped off.
This was your family? Oh, really? How old is it?
When he took it apart, he used to be maybe 1885. It says 1880, but he said because it didn't have a fireplace. To be older, it helped to have a fireplace. They didn't have wood stoves, I guess.
Well, guess what? You carry buckets for it.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
what you have on your back. That's what you carry with 2 buckets of water, full of oil. Every day, if you want to wash your dishes.
How many people lived in this?
Yesterday, the light bulb went out. She was like, "You get a picture of Martha?"
Y'all want some homemade bread?
I'm okay.
You want to pour it and I'll help you? No? Okay.
Now then it'll all slide to one side.
I can bring my long table. We just sit
Here, yeah. It's so weird to. Oh, sorry. See it again. Did you see the steps?
Yep, I went up there and videoed.
Did you go upstairs?
Yeah.
What's up there?
The bed, the trunk, the dresser. Just be careful if you go up.
Trunk, I guess, come from the home place there.
There was an old one.
You can just go halfway up and look.
Do you know if that's
It's a different bed. Now, I didn't remember that truck being from the farm. Mom would know better, but.
Can you imagine raising a family of 8 in here?
Well, no, that was that many kids. But then again, if the oldest was 22, he was out of the house before the last one was born.
I turned 66 on July 4th and July 6th I was about. Well, I knew when I left. I've been going 4 years. Yeah. And then when I was still there, we talked about it. Yes, I was. The last 2 or 3 years, we really got to. I just got to the point I couldn't stand it.
Do you remember Granddaddy's stories from here?
I do.
What was
Got video?
What was his?
Somewhere.
Were some of his favorites?
Actually, most of them involved being outside. Are you talking about my granddaddy or your granddaddy? My granddaddy, like he talked about going to the Pewie's Nest and keeping milk and butter and stuff like that in that cold water since they didn't have refrigerators or even ice. That's the kind of stuff I remember him playing in the creek. In school, he had a lot of school stories.
She says, you had so much
That's bad product, I Let me know.
Need a hamburger? Is she from over there? No drink?
I think she actually lives in Putnam. Okay.
Ty is in Indianapolis with Dave.
Mickey candles. You gonna show them how we make candles? Wait.
And I told them all the story. Mama told me while she sewed and how my coat of many colors was worth more than all their clothes. They couldn't understand and I tried to make them see. Boys is all we were, only if you choose to be. Well, I know we had no money, I was rich as I could be. With my coat of many colors, Mama made for me, made just for me.
I'll be down here. In here?
I took one time from Evansville to Albuquerque.
Did you get any apple done? Yeah, you'll have to.
Trying to pace myself, John.
Is it okay?
You know, Alan, I know he's running. Yeah, he's in here talking to her back. Hi, Denise. Yeah, I can't remember what your first name is. Oh, this is fabulous. We were just talking about the, I'd love to do one right now, you know, like, we're going to try to do that. Yeah, so I'm so glad you came out. We're talking to her.
Maybe a bear? It's big bear. Corn animals. It's definitely all the meat's cut out. Watch her, all the meat's cut out, and it's like turned into like a blanket. You can use these for a blanket. Yeah, because you're seeing so many people. Yeah. I'd say I can see why it's happening. Well, you take care. It's nice
Thank
to see
you. You too.
Bye.
This is apple butter. Rice fresh turned butter. Try that.
I didn't see it.
Do I need to help?
Is this your chair? You want this chair?
Yeah, I'll give you more apples. Chuck said you had apple dumplings. They're right here. That's what you made. Yep, they're on the road.
Is this good and clean enough, Miss Lily?
To make some more, okay.
My, son-in-law
Added enough water. How much water we put in? Like about that much? Here,
I
honey.
thought about that. My son
Just a little bit. Yeah, where it out.
up in Indianapolis.
Son worked together to build this cabin. Because by that time, James Falls and his wife, Emma Easton Falls, already had one baby, and they needed a home. And so they built this home in 1902. This is the newest cabin on the Shubel site. We have 3 that are pre-Civil War, Carter, Hinton, and Shoemaker. This is the newest. This is also the only cabin that came from someplace other than Perry County, Indiana. This cabin originally sat in Easton, E-A-S-T-O-N, Kentucky, which is in Hancock County and has pretty much disappeared as a town. Where she was from, that's where she was from. But Bill Falls, one of their children, one of their younger children was Bill Falls, who later became the sheriff of Perry County. And he knew they were moving these Perry County cabins here to create this village, but he convinced them they should take his family's home from Kentucky and move it. So he managed to convince them, so that's why we have this one cabin from Kentucky. And like I said, it was from 1902, so a little bit later than some of the others. But still, as you noticed, looks very much like all the others. This is a way for the poorer people to still have a place to live when other people were already building frame homes and things like that. But you could get your own lumber, hew your own logs, and build it for yourself rather cheaply and have a good home for your family. Typically in these cabins, that was probably where the bed was for mom and dad. You notice the door is offset a little bit. It's not centered to allow a space over here, and there was no window on this side. You don't usually put your bed under a window in those days. And so there would be a bed there with a cradle next to it because they were having a baby about every year. And they were lucky all their babies lived, and it was not unusual back in those days for a lot of your children to die before they made it to adulthood, so they were lucky. It's also not unusual for women to die early from childbirth, and the other hazard for a lot of women is long dresses and fires. A lot of women
Grandmother was in the car. You were raised in the car.
Okay.
The one down there was singing.
Uh-huh. Really? Okay.
Did he critique you from the ones last week?
No, he has not.
It locks everything together, but you notice there's really no flat lines there. So when rain comes down, water's not collecting in those joints. It just sheds right on off. You see a lot of modern cabins people building, they use round and round logs and round cut.
Hi.
No, they don't hold up later, people and stuff. This thing had them.
Okay. Yeah.
You can read. I love all these old pictures. Oh, they migrated from Pennsylvania. Well, they have an SPHU in that name. But I know somebody named Flores, but I don't know her husband was.
So this is Bearcat stew.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I heard that you had really good fried chicken up there, all kinds of stuff. Did you have it? We almost cooked it, but we didn't take it.
Big munchies, huh?
Want a bite?
All right.
Grandma, you want a bite?
Wonderful job.
Turkey
Look
leg?
at that.
No, thank you.
That's awesome.
I think I could feed a village with this.
I don't get those that big at the Renaissance Festival.
Use a fork, but
Gotta go to Pioneer Town to get the big turkey legs.
And I was on the 1886.
they go get a knife and start cutting some off.
There's a Shubal Little, next door neighbors.
Yeah, perfect.
There's an extra room somewhere.
That was 32.
Y'all having a good time?
Hi there. And Vicki Gomez.
I see your posts. We're friends on.
She was on the
Facebook. What's your name? Vicki.
What's that 1930 date?
She was on
What's
the
that
bridge
mean?
too. It was the cornerstone for the porch out front. I've got a picture of it that I sent to Carolyn.
So are you in Florida now? Or are you
I'm in Florida.
Grandparents sitting out there.
So you do the dives?
So that's the year
I'm a
they
scuba
built it.
diver.
So cool. I used to
The
be
front
that
porch.
too once.
I'm hoping to get my captain's license by next year.
My dad told me.
Just remember to
we
count
have
heads
videos.
before you leave the ocean.
Of him talking about everything up there. He was really good with the history. It was, I think it was.
She said they can't.
Reggie?
Hey.
Wondering if you're gonna make it.
Hey, old man. What's going on? How you doing?
Did you see him, Henry? He wrote
She's waiting on me to give her more. I was giving her food.
Well, somebody said on the top of the hill. So why?
Here's some Dr. Pepper if y'all want some.
I've got it.
Hi.
Oh, she did? Kathy does?
They're up without the roof. This is when they were first taking it apart. But it looked like just one of those little country houses that are covered in all the siding and had all these rooms added on over the years.
saw Bonnie
I know you're gonna walk right up to it. Yeah, we set the stone so you could see the thing. See right
Oh, it's on top. I forgot. I was looking on the side. I forgot.
Yeah.
I see. You could probably clean that up a little better.
Well, it ought to be washed with water.
Oh, I can see it.
You see these all over the place. Did you have a maid?
Good memory.
Where did you get
Thank you for everything.
You're quite welcome.
Appreciate it so much. My dad
Over 100 years
would have been.
I was thinking it was on the side.
truncated
Yeah,
that, so
I had to remember the right stone, but I didn't look
Uh-huh.
up side. It's right up here on the side. If it was wet, it was something.
Well,
I thought you got a lot of
If
them.
you got a little extra water there, it'll show it up.
Yeah, pour it on the top.
Oh, there you see.
Right to it. Oh, can you get it? I mean, when they found it, when it was, I bet it was marked. You know, remember how he marked all everything?
college boy up here helping me when we first got ready to put the foundation up. So he was helping me get these stones together. And he said, well, this one's got a date on it. I said, what? I couldn't believe it. Yeah, he said there's a date on the stone.
Just found a picture. That was the front porch back in probably the late 30s, early 40s. And that cornerstone, I believe, was over on that corner there. This is 1830.
I swear it was under the house when I found it.
See, all that's gone by then, but this was before.
Yeah, I'm going to
way
miss
back. So,
You've been taking a lot of pictures. Where are you from?
What's that?
You've been taking a lot of pictures. Where are you from?
I'm from Florida.
Are you related?
Oh yeah, I'm Kathy's daughter.
Okay.
How far is that?
30 minutes. They need to stand right next to you.
Oh, I can sit at the pole. You're thin enough I can't see you right up against the pole. You can sit on my walker if you want to pull it up here.
I'm good, thank you.
Our next event. Yes, that's good. In this cabin right there. You go stand out. You can stand. And Chuck will stand out here. And I'll stand on the ground. You'll stand on the ground? I'll stand right here. Betty, tell them that when this is over, everybody that's gather on the porch for a picture. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Perry County and welcome to the village. I'm Betty Cash. I get to work at the Visitor Center and get to work with Chuck and Carolyn all the time. We are very happy in Perry County to have this here. A couple things I want to tell you. Our next event here at the village is their Christmas open house. If you want to see Christmas done the right way, you want to make sure you're here December the 8th or 9th for our Christmas event. And when we're done doing the dedication here, all of the descendants of the Little family, if you would please come up here so we can get a picture of everyone. And I'd like to introduce you to Carolyn Hammock, and she'll take it from there.
Thank you, Betty. Just a word about Betty. She and the Visitors Bureau have been tremendously helpful. It's hard to imagine what it takes to put this event on. And every time I ask or beg or plead, she says yes, and she comes through. So we couldn't do it without her. Now and thank you, Betty.
You're welcome.
I want to introduce Chuck Payline. And right there, Chuck is a historian. He's been our museum curator. He's an author. He wrote a play about the life of Abraham Lincoln that was performed at Tell City High School a couple of years ago. And he's a musician. He's a man of many talents. And one of the ones that we love the most is he gave us this land. There are approximately 40 acres, and he brought the first cabin here. And Chuck has largely by himself done the first 2 or 3 cabins, and then he got older and he got a little help. But without Chuck, Shubal Little Pioneer Village would not exist. Without all of you and our volunteers, it still would not exist. We depend on donations, memberships, volunteers, and Perry County, and well, we've got people here from Florida and Alabama and way around. All of you help us sustain this village, so we thank you very much. Chuck has been a county treasurer to us. This village is a treasure to all of us. And this is likely, the George Little cabin is likely the last cabin that will be added to the village. It takes about $10,000 and probably 10,000 hours to move one of these from the original location. Chuck goes there and dismantles this cabin log by log. The logs are numbered. He makes a diagram, brings them here, and puts them back together, unless it's there are some rotten logs, and then he searches for another one. So this is a major endeavor. It's probably our last one. we're getting old and poor, and so now we just need to take care of what we have. So we thank the Littles, all of the Littles. We're so happy to see all of you here today, and thank all of you for coming. And now Chuck will give history on the cabin. Chuck Palin.
Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Betty. I think this is a record crowd here for our open house, and I'm very, very glad to see all of you. Most of you probably had a good time, and I hope you go home and tell other people you had a good time, and come to our candlelight tour, December 8 and 9. We're here today to dedicate the George Little Cabin. As Carolyn said, this is cabin number 6, and it's the last cabin I'm going to build up here with the help of volunteers. That's not to say we're not going to build anything, because I have a couple other things in mind that I want to build up here. We want a building down there in the pasture with flush toilets and comfort station. We have no money to build that, but we're hopeful that we can get a grant to do that. I also want to build what the old-timers call a meeting house. A meeting house in the old days was a log building that was used as a church and used as a meeting house and used for any kind of community function. So I found a model of a meeting house that I like, and we're probably going to build that before I wear out, I hope. I want to welcome several Littles here that are here from Atlanta because they have a direct lineage and a direct connection to the Littles that built this cabin. They traveled long distance to be here. There are other people here from Indianapolis just to see the cabins that their ancestors built. There are people here from New Albany, there are people here from Texas, there are people here from Florida that came here today, and that's amazing because they came here today to see these houses and see the cabin where their great-great-grandmother and great-great-grandfather lived, and the young folks come out here to see how people lived in 1850 and 1880. So that's our major purpose. These cabins were not built here as a Hollywood set. In 1998, we advertised in the newspaper for a cabin that we wanted to rebuild out here. And we had 2 responses immediately. The Carters and the Hintons both had a one-room cabin on their farms, and both of them were donated. And we built the Hinton cabin first and dedicated that in 2000. So we've been at this for 18 years now. We've had an open house every year, and every year it grows and gets bigger as people come to understand what is here exactly and how their families fit in a lot of times. The house was last lived in by Gary and Della Little. Della Little is here with us today. Her grandfather built the house, and a man named Shirley Little was the primary person who wanted this house saved. And he contacted me, and we became good friends for about a year and a half before he passed away. So that's how this house came to be here. And like Carolyn said, we depend on operating this village and building these cabins almost 100% from volunteers. We receive hardly any grant money, practically no grant money. This has all been done by volunteers and by limited funding from people like you who give us a parking fee and come out and enjoy some good food. That's our only source of income. And that is how these buildings have been built, one by one at a time, and the total cost is between $5,000 and $10,000 to reconstruct a house like this. There are many redundant features in this house. This house has been built in the last year and a half much better than it was originally. And you can see how long it lasted from 1880. And if somebody keeps a roof on this after Betty and Carolyn and I are gone, it's going to last another 150, 200 years. And I hope some of you might be interested enough to help bring that about. You're going to see some of the original features in this house. When you walk into the room here, the ceiling joists overhead are original, and the staircase to this house is original. There's a bureau upstairs that dates from the early 1800s and possibly the late 1700s. And there's a trunk up there that was found in the attic and rebuilt. So some of the floorboards upstairs are original, and others are 100-year-old lumber that I've collected over the years. This house sits on concrete foundation. You know, when they built these houses in 1880, 1850, they put them on 4 stones. Well, this house has 6 stones, and stones sit on concrete. So the floor's not going to sag, the roof's not going to sag, and it's going to last indefinitely into the future. One of the volunteers I want to especially mention is Scott Waldie, W-A-L-D-I-E. He's been cooking up here, and he has put in hundreds of hours with me to rebuild this house with other volunteers. This house has a wonderful brick chimney over here, again made to last 100 years or more. And the other furnishings that you find in this house and the other houses have been donated from various people. Some of them have been connected with the village and some of them have not. They just say, well, I've got some old blacksmith tools, would you like to have them? I'll say, duh, and they bring their blacksmith tools, and that's how the blacksmith shop got built, and how it's furnished. That's just one example. Around the back of this house, one of the cornerstones has 1930 chiseled in it. We just found it by accident, and a little lady over here said she knows for sure that 1930 date was put on there when they built the front porch. So I wondered, you know, why that date was there, because we know the house is from the late 1880s, and I couldn't figure out what that date was for. Well, I think I've covered about everything I had written down here. If you all have any questions, ask any of the staff around here. You can ask me, and I hope to see you at the candlelight tour. The candlelight tour, if you haven't been to one, you need to come and see it because it's a magical experience. All these cabins are lit with candles and kerosene lamps, and we light the trails with lanterns, and it's
Hello. Which cabin is this?
This is the Hinton cabin. You from around here? Or?
I'm from Florida.
Florida?
I'm related to George Little.
Oh, you went for the cabin dedication thing?
Mm-hmm.
Raised 9 kids in this cabin.
Goodness. Oh, you're fine. I don't know how much will even show up, but all of the reenactors have done a wonderful job. Are we allowed to go up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be
They're
careful.
yeah, be careful because they're steep.
The George Little cabin's the same way. It's more like a ladder than stairs.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these stairs weren't in these cabins. They used to just have pegs in the wall.
Taking pictures around, aren't you?
You having a good day?
Yeah. Have to bring all of this.
I'm doing video.
That was interesting. I didn't know that about
I was welding up a big build at Damascus, and when you do that, you have all the layers in there, right? And so the flux, the keep. At the moment, I'm trying to match one piece to another piece for making a boot scraper. We have at one of the other cabins over here, Chuck Palin, the property owner, has got history with that cabin, but he keeps telling people about boot scrapers and nobody seems to know what they are. So he's like, make a boot scraper so I can show people what they are and what they're used to. Back in the day before you had all the tread on your shoes and stuff, most shoes were pretty flat. And so you'd have these, have a scraper more or less. Where'd that piece go you were looking at?
It's over there.
It's right here.
Oh.
So I've got these 2 bars right here, and we're going to punch a hole in those with this drift, or this punch right here to sort of match that up. And then slide this through either side of it to turn that up. And then we'll heat these ends right here and hammer that back onto itself to upset it and backfill that void. And when that cools, it'll lock itself in. And so it'll stay fast, being that it's square, and then the tenons, or which are what these are called, will draw up and pull it in tight. And then, at least in theory, for the next 100 years, it should stay as a boot scraper, unless somebody decides to repurpose it somewhere else along the way. Which this that I'm working with right here is wrought iron that I've harvested out of the weeds and stuff around here from some various old pieces of equipment. So this right here was a wagon tire this morning. Very cool. So blacksmiths recycling long before it was cool. Because this was actually the way I went about doing it, because these pieces started off, matter of fact, that wagon tire is sitting right outside the door there. When I first started with them, they were about that wide, and they're about that long. And you can see,
She's recording.
as I go drawing these out,
Take her over there.
how much
I'm gonna duck right
more
there.
narrow, longer, and then thicker it becomes by doing that. But that was a pretty common thing back then. You didn't have the conveniences we do now, where it's like, oh, I need some 3/8 by 1 inch bar, and I can go down here to the steel shop and buy what I need. Instead, I either had to order it from somewhere, so it took however long for me to find somebody that carried the stock that I needed, write a letter, get a quote on the price back, send them their money, and have it ship it to me. And bear in mind all that in this era in 1850s was done by wagon. So we could take 2-3 months to get what you needed. I got to have it today, so it was a fairly common practice to trade, right? So if you've got a piece of junk that's bigger than what the blacksmith needs to make whatever it is that you're needing made, he may trade you out a portion of that for getting a little extra material for another project. But at the same time, I've seen pictures of receipts, or people have found in old blacksmith shops where they were selling scrap too, so they'd have enough scrap that a lot of times they wouldn't even do that. They'd just they'd accumulate and sell it after a while.
Hey, Aaron, your mom's getting ready to leave.
Okay.
I'm going to do a quick Marco Polo on the way, showing how you get to where the new George Little cabin is. This area where you come in, where you park, but since we had Grandma, this is more the handicapped area to park here. There's a Millstone schoolhouse over there. Very cool building. The Little Mercantile Company. So we got a mercantile. And they have some goats over here. They had a pony over here just a few minutes ago, so it must have, oh, there's a pony. She's just walking the pony around. It's so cute. There's a mercantile. They have a broom maker in there. They've got music playing in there right now. So you've got people in period costume. And Jeff, Vicki Goldman, Kathy, Grandma. Say hi to everybody. And John and Derek and say, we miss you. Go in there now. And that's the cabin right there in front of you. I like that it's front and center. There's 1, 2, 3 cabins. 1 to the left and 2 all the way up the hill. But ours gets to be right here, up close. Here's the outside. And that's the smokehouse and a oven. And there's one of the other houses there. You see the stone. And we'll just walk in.
Turn on the light.
No, you're fine. Looks like they just closed down all the cooking. Still smells like biscuits. I think they were cooking in here. Huh?
Do you think she was felt good about it, or? Oh yeah.
I think just my dad's dad was born in the house, and so we grew up coming here, but it didn't look anything like this. It was a house. Okay, the steep stairs that are about 14 inches high. See how old the glass is in these. It's got some motion. I don't know if it catches the motion in it or not, since it's kind of afternoon now. They were saying that dresser over there was probably late 1700s. And the old blanket box. I think Dad's, our mom said they called it the casket box or something. But the steps are flipped the opposite direction than they were before. But man, they're steep. About 14 inches maybe. Steeple steps. Yeah. They always were, but they were going the opposite direction. They should be going up this direction. But it makes more sense to have it.
So they weren't. The storm had weakened it.
Going down to the farm. Gonna give you a quick view. The old farm.
Can that be saved? Like if we want that video?
Yeah. Oh, could be bumpy. So it's like you're with us.
Used to see deer out there.
See it across the field. Road's in pretty good condition.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I got Lucy about right here. My turtle.
Oh, okay.
I got Herman back behind the bar. I smell like smoke. I smell like smoke. And there's Rosemary's house. First little house. Do you need me to hold your phone or are you okay? She's getting a good view. That little stove used to be laying right up there, that corner, the half side. That when you and I were talking about Kathy.
It's a different view. With no garage. Oh my goodness, the barn.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in real bad shape.
Lauren, you were going to paint a picture
Looks like
of
they
that.
actually cut
Whatever
the wood off.
happened to
right?
that?
Yeah, they-
Repurpose it.
I need pictures to go on.
I've got
Oh, the
great
old
pictures.
barn.
I keep asking for them and nobody's been able
Very
to get 'em
sad
in
looking.
yet.
I think they've either sold or did something with the wood. But there's cows here.
People pay a lot for barnwood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they may have done that
The
for money.
cows. Looks like they've got a barn up there. All right, let's see.
Can't believe the hangar's still there.
Lauren, how do I make it go bigger?
You can stop if you want.
Now that's nice.
It's pretty.
Is that George's workshop that has cows in it? Or sheep?
Yeah.
That's
I
all.
wasn't sure if that was the
I
same
thought
thing.
you'd like to see a quick drive down to the farm. Yes, y'all.